the king who crowned himself. In the chilly winter of 1700, a man named Frederick III lived in a grand palace in Berlin. He was an elector, a very powerful prince, but he had a secret wish that kept him awake at night. He looked at the maps on his wall and sighed. He didn't want to be just a prince anymore. He wanted a title that sounded like thunder and shone like the sun. He wanted to be a king. Frederick called for his most trusted young page, a boy named Lutz. "Lutz," the elector said, his eyes sparkling with excitement, "why should others wear golden crowns while I only wear a velvet cap? Our lands are strong, our soldiers are brave, and it is time the world knows our name." Lutz listened with wide eyes, holding a tray of ink and quills, realizing his master was planning something historic. But there was a problem. In those days, you couldn't just call yourself a king. You had to ask the Holy Roman Emperor in the city of Vienna. Frederick sent a messenger with a long, elegant scroll. The emperor was busy with wars and needed Frederick's help. "You may be a king," the emperor finally agreed, "but only in your lands outside the empire, in the place called Prussia." The news arrived back in Berlin, and the palace turned into a hive of activity. Lutz was busier than ever, helping to pack heavy wooden trunks. They weren't just packing clothes, they were packing symbols of a new nation. "We are going to Königsberg," Frederick announced. It was a long journey through the snow to the far corner of his lands, where the new kingdom would be born. The journey began in January 1701. It was a parade like no other. Hundreds of carriages stretched across the frozen landscape. Frederick sat in a magnificent golden coach, watching the snowy forests pass by. Inside, he practiced the words he would say. He wasn't just Frederick the Elector anymore. In his heart, the transformation had already begun. After many days of travel, the spires of Königsberg appeared on the horizon. The air was sharp and salty from the Baltic Sea. Lutz stood at the city gates, watching the horse's breath turn to steam in the cold air. The people of the city gathered, whispering in excitement. They knew they were about to witness something that had never happened in their land before. The night before the ceremony, the palace was quiet. Lutz was tasked with the most important job, preparing the royal robes. He carefully brushed the crimson velvet and straightened the white ermine fur. The robe was so heavy it felt like it was made of lead, but to Lutz, it felt like the weight of history itself. On January 18, 1701, the Great Hall was filled with light. Instead of waiting for a priest to place the crown on his head, Frederick did something very bold. He took the crown with his own two hands and placed it firmly upon his head. At that moment, he became King Frederick I. He then crowned his wife, Sophie Charlotte, as his queen. The doors of the cathedral swung open, and the new king stepped out into the winter sun. "Long live the king!" the people shouted. Cannons roared in the distance and bells rang from every tower. Frederick waved to the crowd, his crown catching the light. He had turned his dream into a reality, and a small dukedom had become a powerful kingdom. As the celebrations continued into the night, Lutz sat in a quiet corner of the palace. He took a fresh sheet of parchment and dipped his quill into the ink. He wrote down everything he had seen, from the cold journey to the golden crown. Prussia was now a kingdom, and Frederick was its first king. A new chapter of history had begun, and it all started with a man who dared to dream of a crown.